What is up, faithful? 49ers Central is back again. So sorry that I've not had another video up in a little bit. I've been a little under the weather. Probably hear it in my voice. But today I'm going to be talking to you about our latest updates in terms of defensive coordinators. So Gus Bradley is still the internal candidate that they're going to go with, but I don't think they're going to be leaning in that direction. Jim Schwartz is who I hear is not only disgruntled with the Browns because he didn't get the head coaching job, but now he's actively wanting a release. So I think that may benefit the 49ers. I don't know whether the Browns will give him a release, but I don't see him staying there. He's probably not going to be a very good candidate for them to keep because he doesn't want to be there. So Jim Schwartz is somebody we need to keep an eye out for. And another one that I'm seriously hoping that they interview and kind of consider is Raheem Morris. I think he would be perfect for our defensive coordinator job. I mean, I know many of the NFL, like many of the players on the team, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, and all of them, probably wouldn't like that as much because then they would have to learn a new defense again, and new verbiage and new code words and stuff like that. So, you know, from their point of view, it might seem like a pain in the ass, but, you know, from a point of view of a structured defense that actually can stop NFL offenses at this point, I don't think the cover 3 with Gus Bradley is going to be it. Granted, if you give him the right pieces, he could probably get it done. But, you know, I'm not a big fan of the fair weather, you know, defensive coordinators, not even the offensive coordinators. You know, you got to play with what you got to play with. And sorry, I had to pause the video real quick just to turn off the light because it was shining in my eyes and couldn't really see that much. So, my best bet for our defensive coordinator job is Raheem Morris and maybe Jim Schwartz. And I think Jim Schwartz is a good possibility if he gets released. Another potential thing that we could keep an eye out for, if the Niners are going to be aggressive, which I'm hoping, keeping my fucking fingers crossed at this point, is the Ravens center. Let me see, I'm having my brain for it right now, so y'all guys are probably going to rip into me for this one in the comment section. Go ahead, I'm all for it. I don't mind comments and stuff. Yeah, Tyler Linderbaum. Literally was talking about him earlier with my dad. That is a candidate for who we might be aiming for in free agency. And I know Larry Krueger mentioned a possible contract, like in terms of what he might get if the Niners signed him. They could sign him to a 4-year, $75 million deal, or I think it was either $70 or $75 million deal, which would be right in the ballpark of what he technically could earn. And it would then free us up in the draft to be able to take defensive tackles, to eliminate the center position overall from needing to be drafted. If I were the Niners, I would just cut freaking Brendel. I'd get rid of this. I'm like, dude, I'm literally, these gray hairs, not because of work. It's because that asshole can't block. Pardon my language. Like, every goddamn Sunday, you know, he'll block, like, touch the damn dude in front of him, and then he's looking behind him and just watching the dude freaking knock out Brock Purdy, freaking injure him, or damn near make him run around all across the freaking damn field. So, like, Jake Brendel's got to go. I'm just going to keep saying that because I don't like Jake Brendel. I get it. He's an NFL athlete. He's a person, but, you know, I'm not the type of person that's going to sit there and mince words about it. I don't like him. Maybe a good person, but he sucks at football. For a dude that's 6'4", 299 pounds, no offense, I mean, he's a little lightweight for a damn center. He should be putting on at least, as a center, he should be at least 315 or over 300. Hell, that'd be freaking 300 over 300 pounds is a freaking start. But at 6'4", you should be somewhere between 315 and maybe 325 to give you the weight to be able to hold if you do get beat. I'm really hoping that we do go for Tyler Linderbaum. I know the Brandon Ayuk thing is going to end up as a, more than likely it's going to end up as a post-June 1st cut. He did violate the contract, so what the 49ers have paid him, they'd be on the books for. And if they're aggressive enough, they will go to court, claw back some of that money, and then use it to rebuild the team. But it's all dependent on whether they do that or not. So, we'll have to see how that goes, because I don't know how John Lynch is in terms of like how he deals with situations like this, because situations like this are pretty rare. I've never seen one, at least not in my lifetime with the 49ers. There could be situations where other teams have had this situation. I've just never seen them, but it's new to me. So I hope they do take his ass to court and claw back some of that freaking money, because hell, us as fans, we should expect that. If you visited those damn games, if you went to those games, you paid good money to see the team win. But to see that player on field, his paycheck comes from the money, not just from the advertising, comes from the fans who sit in the stands and pay good money to go see them play. So, just my opinion. But, I do want to get into a potential receiver, one that I've mentioned before, but I'm going to kind of give you a rundown of his scouting report, things that I've been reading about him. Chris Brazzell II out of Tennessee. He transferred to Tennessee from Tulane. His dad is a former NFL receiver and CFL wide receiver. Played for the Jets and the Cowboys. So he's got the NFL pedigree. I like him because he's got the height. And if you know football, height makes a freaking difference, especially at receiver. The average freaking height of a DB, let's take a look at that and see what the average height is of a DB. .5'11" to 6 feet. So, and many of them aren't even that. Like, there's a good portion of them that are probably sitting at around 5'9", 5'10". So, a receiver at 6'5", 200 pounds, and I get it, like 6'5", 200 pounds is kind of, for 6'5", that's a bit lanky. Probably would need to add maybe 10, 15 pounds of muscle. Weight room, off-season program will do that to you, plus eating the NFL food. For crap, I've seen some of the things that they prepared. I've been watching some of the videos on the 49ers channel about what they eat, and good lord, 3 meals a day. Like, dude, just for breakfast, they're eating they got scrambled eggs, scrambled egg whites, sausage, bacon, freaking breakfast sandwiches, every type of potato done every type of way, freaking vegan stuff. Then they got freaking peanut butter jelly. They got all kinds of stuff. So they have a pretty structured diet when it comes to what they eat. So you can put on some freaking weight. I know damn well you can if he gets drafted. So his projected 40 time is 4.48, but given his height, it's kind of, I don't know where the projections come from, but when he runs that 40 time, I think it's going to be a little faster than 4.48, given he has a pretty long damn stride. It's not just about how quickly you move your feet, or your fast twitch muscle fibers in your legs, because you have fast twitch and slow twitch, but it's the stride. At 6'5", like, just for shits and giggles, let's see what his stride would be at 6'5". So, and this is just a rough estimate because people at 6'5", not everyone's built the same. Some people are long-legged, some have long torsos. So roughly it would be 7.5 to 8 feet, 7.5 to 8.5 feet in terms of just a stride. So him in a sprint, when he's extending his legs and running, he's covering about 7.5 to 8.5 feet. That's a lot of damn ground to be covering. Like, that's a lot. Like, I measured my stride once when I was in high school, and I'm like 5 feet 8 inches, and mine's like, was it 4 and like about 4 feet, a 4 foot stride, and that's, I'm like, damn. Like, and his stride is probably sitting in between that. That's freaking insane. So the thing with him is that it's not just blending he has that rare size and speed. Randy Moss was 6'5", and we all saw exactly what that dude did in his career. You get Chris Brazzell, and you can get him in the second round. He should be there right around the time the Niners pick in the late second round. And what he does, if they draft him, that's a true deep threat. I'm not talking about some dude who runs a 4.33 or who is really fast but 5'11" or 6 feet. Right? No. In terms of an actual deep threat, what I'm looking towards is not a guy who's going to sit there and be on par with most DBs. Like, Ricky Pearsall is 6 feet. And I know I mentioned in the past that Alex Pierce could be a player we go after. But overall, my idea for the 49ers, if they kind of go in this direction, which I'm hoping they do, especially after the freaking ass whooping that we got in the divisional round, you can't do things the same way you've been doing them. You need to change. Something needs to change, because up until now, you could, if you were Kyle, up until now, you were able to make excuses as to why the team would lose. You know what I mean? And in the Super Bowl, it's either him telling himself, yeah, that it was my fuck up. I fucked up in certain areas, or it was Jimmy, so we changed the quarterback, or, the running backs couldn't get the job done, so we go out and get CMC. There's always an excuse as to why the team lost. And especially with the offensive line, is what I think he's been doing, is the offensive line has always been good enough to get the job done. Until now. Now there's no you can't come up with an excuse. You know, now your offensive line, they got bullied. They got bullied, they got beat up. Seahawks players, and I've seen some of the interviews talking about some of the interviews from Seahawks players, you know, post game and even post after the week after they beat us. They were saying they looked exhausted and demoralized, is the way that the Seahawks had described them. And to be honest with you, I think when you seen Kenneth Walker II running over looking for CMC, that's why. And no, like I don't like the Seahawks. I don't like the Seahawks team. I don't mind the fan base. The fan base is a whole lot better than the Rams fan base. The Rams fan base, they're fucking garbage. Screw them. They can kiss my ass. I don't like them at all. You know, I live in Washington State, and I'm from the Bay Area, so I deal with Seahawks fans on a regular freaking basis, and never once have I had any issues with Seahawks fans. And yeah, we go back and forth in terms of, you know, oh, my team kicked your ass, or, you know, Niners kicked, you guys lost to the Niners, or Niners beat you guys, you know. We'll go back and forth like that every now and like quite a bit, but overall, you know, they're pretty cordial. You know, I can talk to them about football, and they're not going to sit there and hate on me because I'm a Niner fan. You know, Rams fans will do that. Fuck the Rams fans. And fucking Philadelphia, your fan base is fucking trash too. I'm never gonna get a video in without mentioning just how trash their freaking goddamn organization is. Anybody who's been watching freaking anybody watched John Chapman, he mentioned on one of his videos, and I watch him. I listen to them when I'm at work because I work at night, so I listen and I stock the shelves at night. So when I'm listening to things, I'm just like listening to YouTube videos, like mostly sports content and stuff like that. And he's just like, man, he's like, I'm not going to the Philly game because chances are I'm probably going to end up getting arrested. And I thought that was funny as hell. Not that somebody getting arrested is funny, but just the way that he said it, you know. But back to Chris Brazzell. Sorry, I'm freaking deviating again. I like talking football. I like talking in general, but Chris Brazzell brings a rare blend of size and speed that you don't see from receivers too often. And with Chris Brazzell on the field, I don't think he would have much issue getting on the field, especially after this last season. But if any of us are worried about, you know, oh, is he going to be a good blocker? No, he's a pretty avid run blocker. He loves run blocking. It's part of his thing. You know, he was described as not coming off. He does not come off the field, even for running plays. Like, he will block. So that right there makes you a Shanahan-type receiver. The fact that he's a true deep threat, not somebody just that runs fast. I'm talking about somebody who can have the size, the speed, and, you know, the jumping ability. Because at 6'5", this dude's going to outjump most people that are covering him. You know, you're not going to sit there and see this kid on the field and leave him one-on-one with a DB. It's not going to happen. Like, you're going to shift what his presence on the field would push safeties back another 5 yards. Bare minimum another 5 yards. So they would have to stay back. They can't creep up the way that they did, the way that, say, Seattle did with their safeties in the divisional game. There's no way they could do that, because if they creep those safeties up and Chris Brazzell says, you know, say he runs a post over the middle, well, now you got a 6'5" receiver on man coverage with a DB that's shorter than him, and Brock hitting him deep. And I doubt that freaking DB is gonna keep pace with him when, you know, you have a receiver who's probably running like somewhere between a 4.4 and a 4.5 with an 8.5 foot sprint stride. Like, that DB is gonna be gone. Like, his ass is gonna be left in the dust. And you're talking about a single play touchdown. Not that those are going to happen every damn play, but you know, it's the potential of what could happen if he is left on man coverage. And so what that does is it forces the safeties down to shift over. One, that pushes them back, and two, you need one to shift over, because now you need to have a safety over the top to make sure he doesn't beat you deep. So if y'all can see where I'm going with this, is that now Pearsall's in man coverage. Now freaking Kittle's in man coverage, and whoever the heck our freaking other damn receivers are going to be, because at this point I don't even freaking know, because they our rookies didn't even get freaking Cowing didn't get a whole lot of time. I know he was kind of dealing with some stuff, but even when he was healthy, he never got on the field. Neither did any of the rookies we drafted. But it allows the defense to, or allows the offense, sorry, my bad, but it allows the offense to be able to get its best receivers on man coverage. And now you have to ask, are you going to, and even with him on the field, are you going to sit there and leave him in man coverage just because he's a rookie to cover George Kittle or maybe CMC or any of the other targets that we have, you know, weapons that we have on offense? So you can see where I'm going with this, is that the moment he does, and they may do that, they may leave him on man coverage just because, oh, he's a rookie, you know, our DBs can cover him. But the moment he blows past an NFL DB and that dude's home for a score, he's in. That's my daughter. She's saying hi. He's in double coverage the entire time. So this is who I think is a good target for us to take in our draft. I think in the second round that would be more than a good pick, and it would be a weapon that we've needed for a long time. He has the jumping ability. His main weakness, it looks like the one that I've noticed, is contested catches. His ability to contest a catch is inconsistent. But that is something that can be learned. His hands can be a bit streaky. Again, that's something, catching is something that you can learn. He has a limited route tree, although the routes that he is able to run, he does run good routes. It's just the college Tennessee that when they used him, they limited his route tree to what they needed him to do. So, and Tennessee's offense doesn't exactly demand full NFL route, like NFL timing routes. So those are things that he can learn, which is the reason why he's in the second round and not the first. Obviously his production, if you look up his production, doesn't match the traits. But I think under Kyle Shanahan's offense, and I think under the 49ers coaching, he could definitely be something. And in the second round, that's a freaking steal. Especially with how tall he is, how fast he is. The benefits outweigh the benefits outweigh, right, at this point. And you do need to risk something. You know, I know that we've not exactly been the best when it comes to drafting, but I think at this point we need to risk it and try to go for this receiver. But don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Please, I want to hear from you guys. And catch you later.